You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
From the gate now.
What's good? What's good? What's good? You were tuning to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kel. I got my squad with me, in effect as always. I got my brother from Brooklyn. Veg, what's going on, baby?
Notorious is glorious.
All right. You already know what it is. Me and Veg cooking right now, so I'm excited. You know what I mean? We got what, 3 or 4 and done already?
3 joints, and I got a couple that I'm taking some time so I could do something a little different. But yeah, probably be about 5 or 6.
All right, no doubt. No. When we shooting to have it come out on Born Day, April 3rd. So we'll see how that goes. We get everything going. We got my man Tone from Into the Dome. What's good, bro?
Look, man, I got my cowboy hat on.
Man, god damn, you coming in here with this cowboy shit.
Since Bang got his Notorious on, I got my Sade on, baby.
Okay.
Outside of Marvin Gaye, just wanted some context here.
I understand.
Everything's good. Cheers, man.
But you see, Bang, how he came in. We ain't even asked about the Cowboys hat. We ain't got no Eagle stuff on tonight. He just had to throw that in. He just had to throw that in for free, just for free. And then, we got chopping up with us for the first time tonight. This is my man, Chef Kerm. This is like the hip-hop chef. I don't know anybody who's whipping up the pot on a positive note of whipping in the pot, cooking up some great things. And a hip-hop dude, Crown Heights, born and bred. What's going on, Kerm?
Yo, welcome, man. Listen, I'm blessed and honored to be here with you cats tonight to talk about this hip-hop thing and the whole nine, man. It's and Kel, it's good to see you, bro. It's been a minute. What, 10 years since we laid eyes?
Probably, man. Probably.
That's when you know the relationship is the truth, because it doesn't matter how long it's been since you've seen each other. You just keep it moving, right? So, hey, man, shout out to you for having me on, man. I'm excited. I'm hyped about this tonight, man. So
no doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. Today we're gonna be talking about, a minute ago, I can't remember who it was, but this a minute ago, some new school rapper. I don't know if he was really getting a movie or if this was just like promo for his new album release. But like, what's my man name? Donald Glover was supposed to be playing him in the movie. I think it was 21 Savage, right? So I think, but I don't know if this was a real movie. Niggas on Twitter was telling me like, nah, this is just a promo or whatever. But I was just like, this boy don't need a theatrical release. Like, I'm not hating on nobody to get their story told, but to me, and we'll talk about the differences, at least how I see them, what you guys think of the difference between a theatrical release, a Netflix, Hulu release, and then a documentary. So that's what we chopping up about tonight. MCs, singers, and groups who deserve a theatrical release, which is a release that's going to be in movie theaters and just for people watching. That's when you want to make money. Okay, so think about it like you're investing in this. Would you invest that you're going to get your money back from a theatrical release? Then you can have a Netflix release where there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what we had Coming to America Part, whatever that was, straight to Netflix. We get Beverly Hills Cop Part 28, straight to Netflix. So straight to Netflix really is no disrespect. And then there are some people who, I just want to see around the room who you'd want to see a documentary on. Because there's a lot of people who it's like, I'd much rather hear from the people what happened versus the actors and all of that. But first, let's look at it like this. Let's look at a positive theatrical release, because there's been a couple. I think Straight Outta Compton was probably the best theatrical release, in my opinion, probably over the last 20 years, for numerous reasons. I think, number one, I always believe a good theatrical release, there needs to be like, what was it back in the day, sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Like, you need to have something like that. That's what NWA was. You know what I mean? I think a good theatrical release you need, not that you need, but I mean, the death always helps. You know what I mean? The death helps. Not to mention, I think it was great because Cube and Dre are still relevant. You know what I mean? Like, so two of the people who are in this group are still relevant. It's not like, oh, kids are like, yo, I don't even know. My kids was asking me like, Mr. Kill, yo, I thought Ice Cube was an actor. Like, I didn't know he was a gangster rapper. So even though he's not known maybe by this next generation for being a gangster rapper, the kids know who they are. All these Beats by Dre headphones, you know who Dre is. And then more importantly, I think the timing was huge because the feel of the world at that time was fuck the police. You know what I mean? So I think NWA sparking all that controversy with that song, just all those things, it was like the perfect storm. Not to mention the acting. I think that's another piece because we could talk about some movies that didn't do good. It was a good story, but I felt like the acting and the casting and the writing wasn't good. But I think having Ice Cube's son, F. Gary Gray, directing it, like it was just a dope movie. Vague, what did you think about Straight Outta Compton?
Oh, I loved it. Me and Tone did an episode of That Time in Hip Hop on that movie, along with hip hop movies in general. But I loved it, and I've said it before, man. When I was in the movie theater, you know, first of all, the trailer was crazy, so that already got hyped. But when I was in the movies, not knowing what to expect, and it starts with Eazy-E with the Jerry curl going to a damn drug bust, I was like, time to lock in. This is a film, right? This isn't just about the songs that we all expected. And I was telling my wife not too long ago when we talked about it that it was so good that if you took out the music, you wouldn't really lose anything because it was a good drama. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, so it's the blueprint for how to do hip hop biopics going forward.
All right, Tone, what'd you think of Straight Outta Compton?
You know what? I remember going to the movies to see it. It felt like a big budget movie. And I think that's where a lot of the biopics for musicians in general, sometimes it feels like a made for TV type of situation. But the Straight Outta Compton, like Vague said, I remember seeing another movie and in the trailer, I said, I'm going to see the NWA movie. Obviously, we hip hop heads, we're going to go see it anyway. But when I was sitting in the theater, it felt like I was watching like, a Bruce Willis movie. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like a big
right, like you watching Die Hard or something.
It was clean. It was the acting, just the cinematography, everything just felt right. And so my thing was like, man, whoever did this movie, I hope every movie is done by this group of, you know what I'm saying, this crew. Right. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it was, people can debate on certain scenes and if this was authentic or not, et cetera, et cetera. That's another whole conversation for another day. But as a movie, I mean, I thought it was stellar, man.
Right. Kerm, what about you? What do you think of Straight Outta Compton?
My expectations were really high on that. I'm not, don't knock nobody, but I'm a East Coast guy, right? So even when NWA and them came out, I was in the Navy at the time. I was like, yo, who are these cats? What is this? But when in terms of movies, right? My man V was right, TU right. It felt like when I saw the trailer, I said, yo, I gotta go check this out because they have a story, right? They changed the game. Them cats was thorough, right? They didn't just they wasn't just some street niggas that was like espousing some shit that wasn't living, and they was real. So when I go to, I'm gonna drop my $12 to go see a movie. I want to see a movie like y'all was talking about, cinema. The right effects, the whole line, and I thought it was a dope film, man. Because I'm a gangster cat, so I like the old Al Capone movies and shit like that. So it brought all of that together for me. So I was like, yeah, I was both surprised and happy that they treated that story the right way. You know what I mean? So
right.
One thing.
Yeah.
Going back to what Vague was saying about the beginning when Eazy-E basically had that whole scene in the trap house, man. You know what I'm saying? It gave me that Menace to Society vibe. It gave me like the big theater, like, okay, this is gonna be, this is one of those movies. It's gonna meet the expectations instead of the first few minutes you're looking at it, be like, man, this is like some damn, what kind of corny shit is this? You know what I'm saying? Like you see Eazy-E, you see him running, jump through the back window, they got the gats, the police. I mean, it gave you, and then it went to the next scene, I think with Dre or whatever, but nevertheless, it just felt like a a big budget joint, man, and I really appreciate it, man.
Right. And I mean, I think again, it's the whole entire team. You know what I mean? Like, it's F. Gary Gray, who's an amazing director. I mean, we're talking Set It Off. You know, his resume fails me right now, but Set It Off is enough for me because that's one of my favorite movies. So you got a dope director. You know what I mean? You got a big movie director. Again, Q made his son audition for it. You know what I mean? So it just felt authentic. It felt good. But now let's talk about some theatrical releases maybe that weren't so good. You know what I mean? Beg, you're wearing the shirt. Notorious. Anytime it comes on, I'm just still like, who the fuck casted the Falcon as Tupac? Like, we could just stop and start right there. Why is Captain America Tupac? You know, why is fucking Losing Isaiah Little C's? Like, why is Notori Norton Little Kid? It just felt like, because again, Big story to me feels right. It has, you know, it has the depth. It has everybody loves Big. So it's not always just that the story, but it's the story, it's the acting, it's the writing, it's who directed it, it's all those things. Meg, what were your thoughts on Notorious?
I thought Gravy did an excellent job, and that was really it. Like, I thought Gravy had Big's like breath control down when he was just speaking. He sounded like Big, you know what I'm saying? He didn't necessarily look like him, but he had his mannerisms down. You could tell he's from Brooklyn, so he didn't want to mess it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At least his role. But as a movie, it just, like, this is the difference between that movie and that other movie, you know, with the other guy. And Straight Outta Compton, right? Even though we knew the dude that played MC Ren looked nothing like MC Ren, it didn't matter. Because he wasn't the biggest factor in the movie, and he was so engrossed in the story that you were like, all right, whatever. But in this joint, all we did was pick apart, like, Shorty from the singing group is Little Kim, and nah, that ain't it. Is that supposed to be Craig Mack? Like, it was really bad. Like, but again, I think there were parts of it that was dope. Like, Angela Bassett was cool as his mom. She had that Christopher down, like the way his mom said it. But yeah, overall, man, it was just a disappointment. Should have been way better than that.
And that's like Derek Lucas Puff. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I was just sitting here like, yo, who casted this movie? Is somebody cousin casting people? Like, who casted?
I used to live in Jersey City, so Derek he's a JC guy. So I kind of got it, but Puff is I was in Harlem last month, I think, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, yo, you know, a place like this, they could have picked any one of these niggas walking up and down the block right now to do a better Puff than Derek Luke. You know what I mean? I kind of agree with V on that one. The story, yeah, but it was a lot of misses. Like, you know, when you do Big, you got to do this shit right across the board. I mean, I think that he's do that shit against the wall and let's see what sticks. That's the way it kind of just felt to me. But, you know, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie overall. But,
so what you think about the joint?
That's no better. You know what I'm saying? We know.
Right.
We like, nah, that ain't how we roll it, you know, up on Fulton Avenue. That ain't how we do things.
Right. So what you think, bro?
Man, Big Papa deserved better, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to your point, Kill, Biggie has a story, very interesting story, triumph and tragic. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so this is one of those times where if you have gotten that casting right, the storyline wasn't bad to me. You know what I'm saying? Even the problem to me, and Gravy did a great job in terms of, it's hard to find somebody that look like Biggie, but he did the part. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at Gravy at all. You know what I'm saying? But everyone else outside, I mean, I like the chick that played Faith. She was hot. You know what I'm saying? You know, like now I said, look for the chick that played Faith Evans. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't mad at that, but I'm not mad at Angela Bassett, but everything else as far as the casting was a miss. And even with someone like polarizing like Puff, you have to get the right person. Like the example, I was watching that. I'm an old '80s wrestling guy, right? So I'm watching the Iron Claw about the Von Erichs. And so they had that scene when the guy played Ric Flair. Nah, dog, you got to get somebody with some flavor to play Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying? You can't get this cornball to play Ric Flair. That's the Nature Boy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
never lied.
Yeah, so like Puff or not, he had flavor. So you had to have
Right.
somebody with the right energy and stuff like Puff had, especially in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, and the Tupac thing, I don't know what the hell that was about. You know
Bro.
what I'm saying? Like,
I was like, yo, how the fuck did y'all cast the Falcon as fucking Pac?
there's 10,000 niggas with a bald head that look like Pop. And I'm sure somebody took some classes, some theatrical classes or something like that. They could have, a lot of bad misses, man. Storyline was good, man, and it left a lot to be desired, even though it was set up to be nice. But the casting, I believe, is the thing that just blew it, bro.
All right, so let's do this. Let's talk about who do we have for a theatrical release. Me personally, I only got 2 people. So the one of them is what I call Out of Here, the KRS story. You know what I mean? I believe KRS-One has everything for a theatrical release. I mean, I remember hearing Out of Here and just imagining what the video was going to be like. And as you can tell to my dismay, that I'm like, y'all niggas just in the black room, just niggas in the black room. Really, this is the video. Like, I'm hearing the song. I'm like, yo, it'd be ill if they got Scott LaRock. I mean, if they got Eric B buying gold, and you know what I mean? Like, this would be such an incredible video. But I think like that could be a dope movie. I'm always talking about, where is it? This around here somewhere. But my brother's name is Kenny. KRS's brother, Kenny Parker, has a book out.
I like his podcast.
That's an incredible. I'll find it. It's somewhere in here with these books. Oh, it's right here. My brother's name is Kenny, which is an incredible book that tells the story of them growing up. And I mean, as far as KRS being homeless, as far as him sleeping on the trains, and just his whole story, I think becoming, Boogie Down Productions, Scott LaRock getting killed. How do you pick up the pieces from that and coming back from that? So I think KRS would have an ill theatrical movie.
Hey,
and then also, what's up?
Oh, I'm gonna cut you off.
No, you got it.
The name of that book is my brother's name is Kenny.
Yeah.
So
like in my philosophy.
That's what I was about to say. In my philosophy, what they say, my other brother ICU is much darker.
Yeah.
Okay,
My brother's name is Kenny. That's Kenny Parker. Yeah. Very dope book if you're interested in KRS. Anybody to me who's a KRS or a BDP fan, especially from the 80s, this is a book you want to cop on Amazon. And also check out Kenny Parker's YouTube channel, which is real dope. Some backstories on BDP. And the other person I had was, I think DMX could have a real dope movie. Yeah. Again, and keep in mind, I'm saying if it's done correctly. If these movies were done the way Straight Outta Compton was done, I definitely think X could definitely have a theatrical release that could really, make some noise out there. What you gonna say, Carl?
So right there, you can't make that movie without the right X.
Yeah.
Right. Guy made playing X, right? So in y'all's opinion, and I haven't given this any thought, just tell me what you think. Who do you know right now could play X? Who could pull it off?
That's hard.
See, here's the thing for me. I would go brand new actor. I can't. I would go like with Tone, like you were saying. You could pick any nigga in Harlem. I would be like, we on a worldwide search for X. Right. I would make sure that I have some Rough Rider niggas, them Dean brothers, like casting with me. Like y'all lived with that nigga. Like y'all knew this dude. Like y'all are part of the casting team. Like I'm not just sending no casting agent. Like nah. Like these 2 niggas. Like y'all find them, but then before we even get to stage 2 is meeting with all the people who knew X. You know what I mean?
It's like, I know you used to watch. You talk about The Wire a lot, Kel. Now that I live in New York, like I remember, like some of the characters that they was actually cats or niggas like the little
Snoop.
Girl.
Snoop.
Some B-more, right? She wasn't an actor. She was just being herself, right? I think you're right. That's the right math on that one. I think they just let the Rough Rider crew say, yo. When that person walks in the room, that's it. That's X. Boom. And then you go from there. Because that brother, ups, downs, and he had a good heart. He was very spiritual and whatnot. What was that show he was on? He was on some reality show, right?
I think that Ayana Van Zandt joint.
Yeah. I watched a few episodes of it or whatever. But talk about thorough, and it was real through and through. So I mean, I think you're right. That's got all the elements. I wrote down my 5, my criteria for whose life could be a biopic. I didn't think about X, but you're right. That's something I would definitely love to see with the right guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Vay, who you got? What you got for your theatrical releases? You could give them all to us.
Okay. Well, when I saw Straight Outta Compton, I was like, Public Enemy should be next.
Oh, you took mine.
Because Public Enemy is like the A side to their B side, you know. Same message, just different approaches, you know, to the message, and all the dramas there, all the characters are there, all the different personalities, the ride through their life, right? You know, you can obviously there's the early years and their heyday, but then later on is what Chuck's done with his career thus far, you know, and also obviously Flavor Flav in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of backstory to everything they're doing, right? Like Flavor Flav being classically trained in piano and getting to see some of that, like where he came from. Where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? And how he applied it to Public Enemy. Also, you said 5, right?
Yes, man. I mean, as many as you got. Like I said, I only had 2, so.
Okay. A Tribe Called Quest. I mean, I think one of the things to me that stands out that I saw, especially once Spike passed away, with these types of movies, is how big are these artists and groups. Like, I think DMX is an excellent pick because his popularity spans generations. You know what I mean? And I didn't know that about Tribe until Fife passed, and I started seeing tributes to him in spaces I didn't think I would see him, like during newscasts and stuff like that. And then that told me, like, oh, Tribe has a huge impact on you know, a generation that, you know, spans all these different people with different professions. Jay-Z, I think there's a lot that he's mentioned about his early years that I would love to see, especially when it comes to the business side and the hustling and trying to get Rockefeller off, and obviously the breakup. And he just has a real thorough story to tell. Obviously, when you coming from nothing, Marcy Projects, to being a billionaire and one of the, you know, most visible moguls in you know, today. So that'd be a great story to tell, and also to inform some of the people, not us obviously, who don't like, who feel like, you know, we glorify a crack dealer when it's like all of them are crack dealers. What are you talking about? Why are you picking on Jay?
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel like Jay-Z would be another one. And the other one, theatrical release, Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
He's another one who has some early beginnings, right? That, you know, he's in a gang, he's a Crip, you know. So where he starts when he meets Dre, you know, was he 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
Right.
Obviously the Death Row years, leaving Death Row, being on trial for murder, until everything he's doing today. He has a really expansive story as well because of longevity as far as his popularity. Because as you all know, you know, there was a point where we was like, oh, Doggy Style, that's it.
Right.
Fell off. You know,
right. And there was a part where it was like, this nigga about to go to jail.
Yeah.
So
right.
That part was on there too.
I have R&B, but I'll save that for later.
All right, no doubt. And mentioning Chuck D, y'all know me, I'm the bookworm. Living Loud, Chuck D, very dope book. For people who don't know, Chuck D is a artist, so this is just a book of his artwork and just the stories that come with it. So definitely support Chuck on that piece right there. JR, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up?
What's up,
Right, everything good, everything good. Tone, who you got for your list, bro?
First, let me go back and give props to the DMX because I had DMX down as well. Because for me, DMX is one of the probably top 5 most interesting people in the history of hip hop culture.
Right.
If someone played him in a movie, the right actor, we're talking about Academy Award type situation. His life is as interesting as Tupac's life. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe even more. I mean, dude, so many layers to DMX. And real quick about your characters, one thing, BDP actually had them down as a Netflix movie, which that's not a diss on them. I just think Scott LaRock died at the beginning. So we know Scott LaRock because we are hip hop heads, but the average hip hop fan don't really know Scott LaRock like we do. You know what I'm saying? To me, but if it's done the right way, it could be major release or Netflix. Now, for me, I had a
Tone, for one sec, I was gonna say the reason I said BDP was because after reading this, Scott's death will probably be towards the end of the movie. Because to me, this is KRS has so much stuff, even before Criminal Minded. You know what I mean? Like that, it would be like that would really be the bulk of, Scott's death will probably be like mid, almost 75% through the movie.
That makes sense.
And the last 25% would be like him bouncing back and everything like that. But I feel you, because if it wasn't for that book, I would have been thinking the same way. But yo, they got a real ill story, him and his brother, and everything they went through. Yeah, but my fault, Tone. You got it.
No, you good, man. So to that point, I had Public Enemy as well, because I made a note on my phone that Flavor, his character is like Eddie Kane Jr. to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You can do so much with his character because he's an interesting dude. He's actually very smart, even though he's a nut sometimes. He's actually a smart guy, and he's a musician. You know what I'm saying? So, and then of course Chuck D, just who he is. I did an article about him years ago called "The Grown Man of Hip Hop," because Chuck D was way before his time, but he actually was a grown man coming to the game. You know what I'm saying? So he saw things a lot different. A lot of young cats that would have came in. So Public Enemy, with the S1Ws, with Professor Griff, a lot of other guys they had internally. Yeah, they could really, they could really have a good movie. I had LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? As a major release, hard to cast Cool J, but his life and his story, it's a triumphant story, man. And even when he was younger, people sleep. If you listen to that song New York Gangsters by LL came up with Alpo and all these guys.
Yeah.
They was telling him, nah, you rapping, man, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But he was around these cats, rolling around with the real AZ and all these guys. You know what I'm saying? So he described it perfectly on New York Gangster that was on that K Slay the GOAT mixtape back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So I had Outkast. You know what I'm saying? I think they're interesting enough if done the right way. I also had the Beastie Boys, man, because I know it's more. I know it's more crossover than what maybe some of us would think. But man, the Beastie Boys had a moment in hip hop, and even outside of hip hop, in music in general, they have a story. You know what I'm saying? And they were very famous. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be a crossover movie that I think a lot of people, even Eminem fans, would go see. The Beastie Boys. You know what I'm saying? So those are the ones I have for and Snoop Dogg, like you said, Veg. I mean, Snoop's story is like part 2 of Straight Outta Compton. If that's done by F. Gary Gray and done the right way, Snoop has had a hell of a life from being on murder trials to cooking with Martha Stewart, bro. He is he's the American dream. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No doubt. Come, who you got up with your movies? Who you got on your list?
Wow, I'm gonna go. I think Vegas right, man. About Jay-Z, that Marcy Projects, a pinnacle in rap and hip hop. A truest that stays, keeps his shit grounded to the to the roots of the game and all of that. Look at what this guy's done, man. Look at this, longevity of his career. And then, like you talking about, like with Scott LaRock with KRS. The arc of Jay-Z's story, I think, is when Rockefeller did what they did with your man Dame, right? That whole thing. Then, if you see, he kind of takes off and goes off into a different level. Then he pulls up behind him a fucking Kanye West. These guys that get under his wing. I think Hove's got a really good story, man. Mm-hmm. I think a young Denzel could play Hove with the right accent. You know what I mean? So I think that story, man. I also talked to Tone, like the Beastie Boys, right? If you trace back where they come from, how they got in the game, it crosses paths with Blondie, African rock. You know what I mean? That punk rock thing, some Brooklyn trying to get in the game and how they got into that. Fab Five Freddy, that is a fantastic hip hop story, man. And these cats, they for real. I mean, who wasn't rocking Brass Monkey and all that back in the day? Come on, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you said, and white kids would be all over that shit. But it's true to hip hop. I don't know any brothers that's thorough and down like us, like the cats I'm talking to right now, that did not get with or fuck with the Beastie Boys. Boom. I think that's a wrap. And first on my list, though, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. but I don't know. I don't have the fedora, but I'm gonna have to. I got the Adidas jump on, and I got my Gazelles. Run DMC needs to have a movie about their life, especially now with Jay gone. Rest in peace. What actually happened and went down with that? You know, again, some cats from Queens. Everybody knows these guys that come out of Queens. Run DMC, to me, I think everybody on this picture right now knows where they were the moment they heard Sucking MCs. Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Now JR is a little younger than us, so you know what I mean. You know,
JR
yeah, just a little younger.
When I heard it.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, as
right.
you go, my kids are hip hop heads, right? But they don't know nothing about Run DMC. We be in the car, and I'm like, yo, play Dumb Girl. They be like, yo, Dad, what is this? I'm like, this is what the you hear that beat, that bass, but you know, that's a whole nother topic, right? What hip hop was and is now is a whole different subject. But for purpose of this discussion, Jay-Z needs one. I think Run DMC should have one for sure. And I believe that I had for number 3, I had Mary J. Blige, but I'm thinking, you know, DMX is probably, you know, she would move a notch ahead of him on my list.
All right, no doubt. JR, who you got on your list, good brother?
All right, well, I mean, mine probably gonna be all R&B for real, but I feel like Marvin Gaye deserves one.
Come on,
Silver
man.
Screen for sure. He
Fact.
deserves one. I'm like, what is going on? He should have been had one by now. Like, what are we waiting for? And I feel like with him, everybody knows him. So it would be so easy to promote this and have everybody go see it and get behind it and all that. I feel like he deserves one. I also feel like Stevie Wonder deserves one. I feel like Sam Cooke deserves one. I feel like Dionne Warwick deserers one, and I feel like Whitney deserves one. Like,
Whitney has one, but
I was about to ask about the Whitney because we got the Lifetime Whitney. Was you not happy with that?
No, I was not. No.
Okay.
no, there's another one done.
Because Deborah Cox was in one of them.
No, she had a movie came out like a year or two ago on the theater.
You're right. It did come out in theaters.
Yes.
I missed
It was one, but I think it was like one of them quick movies. Like it was in theaters, and then like next week you could rent it.
Oh, you're so right. Yes.
Like that ass. Like it lasted like
I
a week
went to
in
the
the
movie to
theaters.
see shit. You're
Like
right.
during
Yes.
COVID or
And
some
I wasn't
shit.
happy with it. No.
I know you wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Ugh.
But JR, man, JR, you got me frustrated right now by this Marvin Gaye, man, because I've been calling for this for like 15 years, man.
I've been calling for this for so long. Like, if I had my old page, but then I was like, "Yo, Marvin needs a movie. What's going on? Like, we should have been had
And look,
this movie."
and to Gil's point earlier, he has a story. Marvin Gaye's life is movie worthy. You got the death,
Right.
you got
If
the
you
drugs,
read his
everything.
Divided Soul by Dave Ritz,
Yeah.
and you read that book, like
Yeah.
Marvin's story is serious.
For
It's
real.
even before the music, and then now when you realize what he dealt with when he was younger, it makes sense of him putting it all into the music and why it makes sense. You know what I mean? So he should have been had one. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
I would probably assume it's probably something to do with the family because I know like Richard Pryor was supposed to have a biopic for years, and you know Mike Epps was in talks with it. Marlon Wayans was in talks of playing Richard, but I think a lot of times, and you know Marvin's family, even with the whole Robin Thicke hoopla, like I don't know how they may want to go about doing that. But yeah, I mean, definitely Marvin definitely deserves
Hold on.
that done.
What did Robin Thicke have to do with Marvin's story? I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, when you know Blurred Lines, they used "Got to Give It Up."
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And Robin Thicke and them didn't really ask permission, and they act like it didn't sound the same. And
it's like, come on, guys.
I'm like, come on.
Everybody knows
what are you
like,
doing?
when I heard it, I knew it. I was like, come on, like we can't be stupid. And then they tried to get Stevie involved with it, and I was like, Stevie, now you know if somebody that did that to you, you would have wanted your money too. Like, come on, yo. Like, soon as you heard that joint, it was like, all right, that's Marvin. Okay, cool. Y'all could have just added him as a songwriter and it would have been done. But
the problem is when you don't do what Slim Charles say, if it's a lie, we got to fight on that lie. So at the end of the day, we didn't handle our business. Word, that sounds like I get up. I don't hear it at all. Like, Robin, you hear it? Nah. Pharrell, you hear it? Nah, not at all. You know, you got to act stupid because now, you know, money's involved. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what happened?
They hear it now, though.
You better believe it.
You know, because that song was huge. So once you getting them checks and now people want their checks back, man, ain't nothing worse than giving a nigga $500,000 and then telling them give it back. So we gonna have real dumb out here in this courtroom because ain't nobody trying to get that $500,000 back. You know what I mean?
Hey, kid, can I add one more person?
Yeah. What you got up, Stone?
JR gave me an idea about R&B. I had on my notes, man. DeBarge, man. Like,
yes,
the DeBarge family, man. You talking about a triumph and tragedy?
Oh
it's deep. God. It's deep on so many levels because they had several deaths in their family. You know what I'm saying? And a lot to be desired because they could have really been like some Jackson 5 shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think people will tune in to the DeBarge story, man. It's very deep. You know what I'm saying? It's very deep.
Yeah.
All right. What you got, babe?
Let me just add one point about just thinking about everybody that was named. One thing, you know, some of these people are so large and had a certain level of longevity that you will get to see other icons within their story and moments that happen.
Yes.
But also, like with DeBarge, damn, what I was gonna say. Damn, I lost my
They had a horrible one on TV One that.
Yeah,
a movie?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I don't even remember that.
It came out maybe about 3 years ago, and it was.
Damn, I missed that.
Yeah, I ain't even know nothing about that.
Good that you did, because you would have been like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, now.
They.
All right. The other point was when you think of just using DeBarge as an example, the music would just be great.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you think about their family, their older brother when he was on with
Switch.
Switch.
Right. Yeah. Like the music would just be awesome. They just have to run everything else down. So
Right. All right, now we're gonna be looking at the Netflix, the Hulu, the Amazon Prime, straight to DVD. Now, like Tone said earlier, this is no disrespect. This is no disrespect. Tubi, now we going a little too far. You like that may be a little disrespectful if you put me on Tubi.
That's disrespectful, babe.
Yeah, like you thought I tried to stay with Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. I tried to keep it in that parameters. The example I want to give is the Roxanne and Shantae movie that was on Netflix. Yeah. You know, I thought it was a perfect joint for Netflix. That was not a theatrical release. If I would have paid $25 for me and T to go see that and popcorn and a $40, I feel some kind of way because to me that's not a put your clothes on, let's get dressed and go to the movies type movie. It was perfect Netflix, nothing wrong with it, gave you what you wanted. And then I'm also looking at it like we had a lot of good series too, because you know I'm thinking about everything doesn't really just have to be a movie. There are certain things that were a great series. So for me, just to set it off, I mean, I love the Wu-Tang series. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the Wu-Tang story, because also what we have to think about with a theatrical release is you're probably capping at 2 hours.
Yep.
You know, and some of these people have stories. Wu-Tang's story is bigger than 2 hours. So I love the fact that, I mean, what was it, Bake? 3 seasons? You know what I mean? Like
it was.
Yeah, like I feel like if you would have made a Wu-Tang movie, we would have left so much out. Trying to squeeze so much into 2 hours. Like with the New Edition, I think they had 2 nights, right? Like they had like three nights. You know what I mean? These boys been on since '83. They still humming now. So certain things can be a series. So I loved how they did the series, but then they did the documentary on Showtime too. You know, because it was kind of, I remember the series, me and Naomi were watching the series first. So then when we watching the documentary, she's like, well, who's Dennis? Like, who's Ghostface Killer? So in Naomi's mind, she knows them as their real names because she was watching, you know, the series first where everybody was Dennis and everybody's real name like that. So I thought that was amazing. Now, movie-wise, for I'll do hip-hop. I believe, like, I would really want a Fat Boys Disco 3 to the Fat Boys kind of fall off, the Marky D death, the Buffy death. I think that would be a dope Netflix type flick right there because a lot of people don't know about the Fat Boys, you know, and I feel like they remind me of like kind of like Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson to me was like the litmus test on this new level of hip hop in the NBA, and it was like the NBA was like, that's what we not gonna do. You know what I mean? But Allen had to walk that walk for the NBA to be like, nah, we ain't doing that. We need a dress code. We need this. We're gonna, you know, they tried to ban the crossover and call the carry. So with the Fat Boys, I think they get a bad rap because, yeah, they probably made a lot of bad business decisions, but they were kids. It's 84. You know what I mean? If they're like, hey, do this song with Chubby Checker, it's like, okay. You know, do the song with the Beach Boys. Okay. You know, play some Stupid Disorderlies. Okay, it's a movie. So I feel like a lot of the decisions that they made were like the first time in hip hop to be able to do all these things. But if we go back to that first Fat Boys album, to me, it's a 5-minute classic. Stick 'em, All You Can Eat, you know, Fat Boys, you know, all that stuff. And then telling the story of how they had to make those choices. And again, you know, God bless, you know, the Human Beatbox passing away, and then later on Marky D passing away. I thought a Heavy D movie would be dope for a Netflix, you know, Hulu joint like that. Just, you know, talking about Heavy from the rapping to the acting, just everything that Heavy did great. I said I wanted the Ice Cube series. I believe Cube deserves like a series of leaving NWA, coming to New York, kind of now branching off to doing movies, and then branching off to doing the big three and just everything that he's done. And then Tone, with you, like you were saying with Cass, I wanted an Outkast Dungeon Family series. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, we're not just talking about Cass, we're looking at the whole South, we're looking at Goody, we're looking at how things fell apart, you know, where Big and Dre divided, you know, where they just went their separate ways. On the R&B tip, I said an Aaliyah movie, not Lifetime. We gotta do Lifetime. Don't have the directors that we need. You know, I feel like Lifetime is disrespectful. Like when I'm like, yo, straight to DVD ain't disrespectful. Lifetime and Tubi is. Like I feel like Lifetime will drop the ball on your story. So unless your mortgage need to get paid that bad, like just hold tight, you know, for somebody better come around. And then I said I wanted a Teddy Riley series.
I said that too.
Just Teddy getting started in Harlem, the whole New Jack Swing, going in the guy, the whole move to VA. I've heard it was about, you know, people in New York wanted Teddy, something to happen to Ted, so we had to pack up shop and move to Virginia, bouncing back with Blackstreet or Michael Jackson. So those were my Netflix, Hulu streaming series. Vay, what you got for your straight to DVD people?
Straight to
and let me stop saying straight to DVD because that sounds disrespectful.
I'm not Netflix, man.
Yeah, I'll go with Netflix. Netflix. And I don't know straight to DVD was bad. Shit, Paper Soldiers with Kevin Hart is one of my favorite movies ever. Like, I literally gave niggas a money back guarantee. That shit used to be at Circuit City for $7.99. I said, yo, if niggas buy Paper Soldiers and you don't like it, I will pay you back for that shit. I've only done that for Paper Soldiers and Sleepy Brown Sleepy Theme out. Those are the only two things I've ever done a money back guarantee on in my life. That's how much I love both of them things. I don't think straight to DVD is that bad. But Vay, what do you have up for Netflix, Hulu, and streaming services?
For the bargain bin movies, I got. That's how we doing? How we doing? Okay.
42nd Street back in the day.
Right, the bootlegs. I ain't say bootlegs. Now, if I said bootlegs, that's what we going straight to bootleg. That's disrespectful. Straight to bootleg. You ain't even got no distribution. You just straight to 125th Street. That's
or Delancey Street.
Yeah, Delancey Street. Yeah. You want to go? Right. What you got, Vay?
I would love to see a Jodeci movie.
Okay.
Mary J. Blige.
We already know them dudes. It's so much drama with them dudes. You'll just wonder like how did they make music?
Right.
But I think the only reason why I would want to see, besides being a fan, is they're kind of the quintessential 90s Timbs and kind of hardcore R&B that existed with like groups like H-Town and stuff like that. But I wouldn't mind seeing that. Also, Slick Rick. I mean, Slick Rick got a hell of a story. Slick Rick story could be a film or a series, because you have that point in time where, first of all, it's the 80s. Then you got the drama with him shooting his cousin. Then you have his prison stint. Then you have him almost getting deported. when he's coming out, you know what I'm saying? And you could just run the gambit. Also, you know, the questionable Louis Vuitton outfits and shit. Like, you'd be looking like, hey, they don't make souls that thick. What is that? What else? I wouldn't mind seeing a Lil' Kim movie. Okay. Because I think her story would be so unique because we hear Big and Pac and everybody around it. But Kim was a major figure during that time. And what was it like with her, with the relationships? I know she got a book coming out. Maybe it could, if it's good enough, maybe it could mirror that. But I'm really interested in her side of the story to everything, if it's told right. Especially given the fact that before the movie, even the Notorious movie came out, she didn't like it. So Kim already thought a lot of it was fugazi before it came out. So it would be interesting to see, you know, her take on things that happened at that time. Rick James.
I said that.
I love to see a Rick James.
Oh God, yes.
The right person got to play him.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it can't be a parody like Dave Chappelle. It has to be
right. Something serious.
Right. Because he was that guy, but was he that guy all the time? I doubt it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stuff like that. And who else? Slick Rick. Who else? I say. And I had Mary J. Blige. I would want Mary J. joint to be a series. I'm such a huge fan that I think you could really develop her story with her as a child. Because even when I watched the what was the joint on Prime? What's the 4-1? Now what's the
My Life series?
The My Life joint, yeah.
A lot of those early years, I mean, I didn't know a lot of that stuff, or I didn't see it, right? Because there was a lot of photos from when she was younger and stuff like that that made me more interested in her growing up. Because obviously the later stuff I knew like the back of my hand, but just to see that play out, because I think there's a lot of similarities with her and Roxanne Shante as far as their early beginnings and, you know, people taking advantage of situations and stuff like that. And one more. Hold up. Oh, Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, that's the one I was just about to say. I just forgot that one on mine was a Lauryn joint.
Yeah, because for one, we gotta see. We just saw the scruffy man on Drink. I ain't watching, but on Drink Champs, we just gotta know, like, you know, okay, we know the Wyclef situation, and honestly, like Mary J. Blige, it created some great music, but this other situation and the popularity she got after her debut album just like derailed her stuff, and that's how most fans look at it. She doesn't look at it that way. But we would want to know, you know, what is it? The being late all the time, like, you know, what's happening behind the scenes. I just think there's a lot to unwrap there that she doesn't unpack herself through her music today. So we just don't have a clue, and she don't do interviews really. So
right. I think Vega, a lot of things I like about your picks, because people forget Lil' Kim got locked up.
Yep.
People forget Lauren got locked up. You know what I mean? So Slick Rick, to me, he was the first person I knew of in hip hop to get locked up. You know, I remember that joint. What was it called? The Show, where Russell went to go see him behind bars and everything like that. Like, that was all brand new. And again, the whole Rick thing, this is, again, of course, pre-internet. So you just hear in the room, it's like, yo, Rick shot somebody. And it's like, damn, Rick shot his cousin. You know what I mean? And it just kind of, next thing you know, back in those days, it's just like, you just listen to the radio or you reading the source, like, damn, Slick Rick locked up. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely think all those joints are crazy too. Tone, what you got for your list, bro?
Oh, real quick about Slick Rick. Didn't Kane say a couple of years ago that Slick Rick pulled a gun out on him? Did y'all hear about that?
Nah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Way back in the day.
So I'm thinking the Teenage Love video. Like,
no. Kane was like on Drink Champs or something like that. Like, he was talking about him and Slick Rick got into it, and Slick Rick had like a gun on.
Oh,
y'all gotta pull it up later, man. Kane talked about that, like real life. Not
Slick pulled the gun on him, or Kane pulled the gun on him. Okay.
No, Slick Rick pulled the gun.
No, I mean, I could believe that. Like, Rick seemed like he's like, I mean, shit, the nigga was shooting at his cousin. So I mean, you would definitely shoot at your, nigga in the video. So
y'all pull it up later, man. He talked about that, but mine, man, same way Wu-Tang had that joint on Hulu as a series. I like to see a series on the Juice Crew. You know what I'm saying? You stick at the whole thing with Shan, got an interesting story with his character, you know what I'm saying? And
yo, so hold for a sec. Greg, wasn't Kel Spence supposed to be doing something with that? Like they were supposed to be shooting the movie, and I thought Kel Spence's name was part of it for something.
Yeah, they shot a movie a couple of years back. I don't know the details of it. He did talk about it in an interview I saw, but yeah, like a bunch of people was in it. Styles.
Yeah. I thought they would do it. I don't know what happened.
Shelved though for some financial thing, so it'll never come out.
Well, nevertheless,
I just was thinking about that. Like, damn, somebody was supposed to be doing a Juice Crew.
Okay. Well, I like to see a Juice Crew series, man. I think there's so many different characters and the whole history behind them, and Marley and everything like that. I think it'd be dope. I like to see on Netflix. I'm talking about Netflix, but not for me. Ghetto Boys movie. I think it'd be interesting with Bushwick.
That would be dope.
Willie D. I had Two Live Crew. Crew. You know what I'm saying? I just think that a lot of dynamics behind that, the legal stuff with Luke and was it parental advisory and all this stuff like that, I think, or whatever.
Now, can we do that straight to DVD? Because there may be some scenes that Netflix may not be okay with. So can this be an asterisk that we can go straight to DVD with their story?
No.
All right, we can go straight to DVD with that one.
Yeah, I had on the R&B side, man, this would be a sad one, man, but I had the Tammy Terrell story, man. For Netflix movie, man. I think that would be very interesting because, man, Tammy Terrell had the potential to be the face of Motown from a female perspective. And I wrote an article about her years ago on Into the Dome, man. I had KRS-One BDP movie on Netflix on mine, and I also had Jermaine Dupri's movie, man. You know what I'm saying? I think Jermaine Dupri has an interesting life, man, from finding Criss Cross, walking in the mall, to dating Janet Jackson. To bring it back, help to write with.
You know what? I would tune in and I would cut straight to that part because I gotta find out how he bagged Janet. I gotta find this out. This is like the question of life. This is like, what happens when you die, and then how did Jermaine Dupri bag Janet Jackson? Like literally in that order. Like
you talking about this dude bagged Janet Jackson and helped bring back out Mariah Carey with that Emancipation of Mimi or something like that. So I mean, dude has a story.
Yeah, he does. Veg, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like to think, just looking at her concert, Janet Jackson bagged him because she strikes me as the type of woman who's like, yeah, nigga, you my man now. So some of us we just go with it like
right. Right. And so I don't know if people have read this. Y'all see I'm on my bookworm joint going off. The Cold Chilling book. This is an incredible book. Ben Merlis, we had him on Apartment 5B before, breaking down him writing this book. But for anybody who's a Juice Crew fan, this is definitely, will definitely get you going until the movie comes out. And it's not just the Juice Crew, it's all really Cold Chilling records. So even after the Juice Crew, they talk about signing the Genius and Granddaddy IU, R.I.P. The Granddaddy IU. It goes on the Biz and Cool Diamond Shell and everything like that. So it's not just the Juice Crew book, the Cold Chilling book. So definitely check this out. Kerm, what you got for your picks?
I kind of fell off my list when we was talking about movies, right? But being a chef. This category I kind of liken it to the cake that doesn't rise category, right? Like a cake. If you think about a cake, you gotta have all the right ingredients. But if you don't mix them joints right, or you pull it out of the oven too fast or whatever, it's not going to be the finished product, right? So thinking about what Tone was talking about with the different crews, you talking about Cold Chilling. I think people don't recognize Kool Herc enough. Think about Kool Herc, right? Kool Herc was the guy who invented the loop and the scratch, right? Who else came through there when he was doing all this shit? Kool Mo D, KRS-One for sure. He said he got kicked out of a party that Kool was throwing in the basement joint one time. And a lot of those roads intersect through him from the origins of what we call the hip hop culture today. So I think Kool Herc would have a good Netflix kind of a thing. because that way you get to see a lot of different people come through that and whatnot. You know, the block parties and all that kind of stuff. But ain't not like a Philly block party. Like, you know, shout out to my man Kel for Philly. I spend a lot of time in Philly. It's a little Philly, so the block parties is, you know, they keeping it real with that. Another one I think from Netflix would be I had this written down. The dude, I think Special Ed. They did him on Unsung, but I think Special Ed, man, you know, is somebody that I'd like to see his life kind of, you know, laid out, mapped out, and where he was, because he has some issues too, baby mama drama and all that. How many kids this nigga got? Vague, I don't know how many he got. like you know, he got a little village behind him.
I don't know if he beat Most Def, man. Most probably, I don't know how many kids Most got.
That's what I was going with next. Very talented brother, but you look at Black Star, you know, I'm partial to the Brooklyn MC, so Black Star, Tyler Kweli, but most is especially in his transition, who is now, you know, Yasin Bey. Right. And all that. This dude, you know, he's got a lot with him, I think, to unpack. So again, not quite, you know, unsung level, but it needs a little bit more of those guys. I think need a little bit more of an elevated treatment to, you know, to kind of get these young folks like JR, you know, in touch with their roots and their history, to go way back to, you know, to bridge that gap. You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing, Kerm. The craziest thing about JR is he's young, but this nigga knows more shit than probably somebody 80 years old does. So
I can tell.
You know what I mean? The more you chop it up with us, we call this nigga the R&B guru for a reason. Like this nigga's like Doc and Marty going back in the DeLorean. Like, I believe he's in every fucking studio session throughout the years. It's like JR in a red cup. Like, you just see a red cup in a Marvin Gaye studio session. That nigga was there. Right? So
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Those are my ones, man. I think of, you know, going back to Rick, right? Like I said, I knew he was in jail. This nigga, he was popping off shots on the GW one time, if I'm not mistaken. You know, he was wild. I thought Rick was that cool. Yeah, man. Word is bond. He got pulled over like 2 o'clock in the morning on the GW with a sword off in the trunk, and he had a couple knives in the back seat. Wow. You know, Stingray in the glove. You know,
like Rick wasn't bullshit.
No, Rick was wild, man. I didn't know that. I thought, you know, you see him with the suits and the, you know, the whole. You know, I thought he was on that whole different kind of a level with him. That cat was a straight up London gangster. You know, that's his background. You know, he came from England. So, but I think his story would be dope as well to kind of dig into. You know, I mean, it's so many people we can sit here all night and talk about this, which is a great thing. But you're right. I think where we are now in hip hop and what you're hearing, what I hear, what I express and feel when I'm listening to this stuff. I'm like, okay, well, none of this even remotely resembles, you know, what things were like, say, in the 80s, 90s, or whatever. Forget about the 70s. We don't even want to go back that far. But I think we need to try to figure out how we're going to get this thing to come full circle. And, you know, right, Chuck D talks about this a lot, too, right? So I think, you know, and the medium now is YouTube and, you know, podcast and, you know, digernets and all this kind of stuff. That's what this younger generation is, man. So let's start telling some of these, you know, these stories about our roots and what the history, the culture is really, you know, connected to.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I love your pull on Kool Herc, because to be keeping a buck with you, it's almost like after the 70s, once the 80s hit, you don't even hear Kool Herc's name anymore. No. So it's almost like I have no idea what Kool Herc has been doing from like 1979 to 2024. Like, it's a blur. Like, when you still DJing, did you get a day job? Like, last thing I knew with Kool Herc, I know they was like doing a GoFundMe. Like, I think he was sick, you know, and they was trying to do a GoFundMe, and I want to say Jay, or if I'm not mistaken, somebody, I guess, took care of the bill or whatever like that. But, you know, I would love a documentary, because a lot of these rappers, the Cold Crush, you know, the Treacherous 3, outside of Mo D, like, what happened to a lot of these pioneers that set the foundation, who by the time 1985 hit, the Funky 4 Plus One More, Cold Crush, Treacherous 3, like, it's kind of like they just disappeared, you know what I mean? And what happened to them, you know, what's been going on. So I think that's a dope pull too. JR, who do you have for your Netflix, Hulu, streaming services?
I turn mine all into series, to be honest with you, because I feel like that's what it is. I started with the Isley Brothers. I feel like they deserve a series for real because of from the 50s all the way to the 2000s. They have a story, and you can't just do that in just a movie with them, a 2-hour movie. They deserve way more than that, and I think they deserve a series for real, for real. I said Luther.
Yeah.
I feel like Luther deserves a series. You know what I mean? For what he did before he became Luther solo. He did a lot of stuff with David Bowie and all of that, and did stuff with Roberta and Donnie and all of that. So it's like you need to know a lot of that before you get to his solo stuff. You know, and then him as a producer and all that kind of stuff. So I think he would be good with that. I said Mary for sure for a series for real, because she has so much and so much before her music, and then when you get into her music, then her life with the music, it's like you need so many stories with it. So I said that. Rick James is another one. I say Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
That'd be crazy.
I think they deserve a Hulu series or whatever, because I like how they did the Aretha thing with Cindy, what's her name, Cynthia Erivo, and how she played Queen Aretha, and it was like 8 like different.
What joint was that? The only one I remember. Didn't J Hud play Aretha? Or
yeah,
am I bugging?
she did. No, okay. That was on Silver Screen, yeah. But then they did one on Hulu with Cynthia Erivo played Aretha, and it was like an 8-part series.
Hey, JR.
Check that. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Hey, JR, so you made me think about, I had something written down, like, I had The Time, right? I thought The Time could have like a Netflix movie or a series, because you talking about The Time breaking off from Prince, Morris Day, then you got to look Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis in The Time. You know what I'm saying? And then how they break off and start writing and become these amazing writers in the 80s and stuff. I think The Time could have a dope series, man, when you look at Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Morris Day. You know what I'm saying? He's an interesting cat. And he grew up. You know, Prince picked him in the band in high school. He playing the drums and all this shit like that. He didn't even want to be a singer. You know what I'm saying? Morris didn't want to be a singer. Prince like, you need to sing, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Quick trivia question: how much did Morris Day make off Purple Rain?
Shit,
probably zero. Probably zero.
He said he got 50,000, and he
That's
was
better
still.
than what I thought he got.
And Prince called him back and was like, "Yo, you got to give me half of that back."
Yeah, he said Prince pulled some jerk shit on him, man.
Oh yeah, he dogged him out. Yeah,
he got a nice.
So you know what I'm thinking off that too? It would kind of be dope to do a Prince of them series, just all the Princes, like he don't even gotta be part of it, but just all the people like
the Revolution, Wendy and all them, and
like you know, Apollonia, Vanity, you know, all those. That shit would be like almost a spinoff, or like, you know what I mean, like a Wire spinoff, like of everybody who Prince rocked with.
Right.
Yeah. You got anybody else there?
I got 2 more. I got Donny Hathaway as a series. I think he deserves a series. And then my last one, I'm gonna say Shaka Khan.
Okay.
I feel like
he brought it hard.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So Shaka has a story too. Yeah. So I think her joint as a series would be really, really dope with her before she got to the game, when she got into it, then when she went solo, then all of this. It's like she got, and then obviously the drugs. So it's a lot in her story to tell. So you can't really put that all into just
Shaka was wild.
Movie. So so that was.
You know who I had too, JR? Phyllis Hyman.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Did you see her the unsung thing that they did on her?
Yeah. But I mean, I think Phyllis, you know, because you know, just, you know, incredibly sad. I'll never forget, man. I went to my man Malik crib, and you know, his mom's like, I never like his mom's and like her girlfriends were just around the table, like just crying, like just around like the dining room, kitchen table, just crying. When Phyllis died, like, and it was just like, wow, like, you know what I mean, the effect that this had on black women, like grown black women, when Phyllis died, it was just like, wow, like that's a scene to see.
And I just want people to see that Phyllis was originally the original Whitney before Whitney became that. because Clive wanted her to be that, but she didn't want to play the game. She's like, I'm not playing that game that you want me to, the politics and all that. I want to do the music I want to. And then Phyllis will cuss him out. So he was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go find somebody else. And that's when he found Whitney for real. But Phyllis was supposed to be that girl for real, but he was like, nah. She was like, no.
She was bad.
Yeah.
Now tell me this, kind of like what Kerm asked earlier. You know, Vegas, you said Slick, Jodeci, Little Kim, Mary. Is there any actors who are out right now that you could see playing any of those people, Slick Rick, Jodeci, Kim, or Mary in a series? Or, you know, we doing like I said with X, we just gonna hit the streets and find somebody fresh off the boat.
That's what I think you should do anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like you should find somebody that's really, really good rather than trying to get somebody big. You know what I'm saying? Find somebody that really can act these people and really play them. You know what I mean?
You know, JL, what I love about that point is because now that we're not dealing with the theatrical release, we're not dealing with we got to put butts in the seats and we need a big star to sell this movie. We're now on Netflix, we're on streaming, where now is your opportunity to go out and find a new actor. You know what I mean? Like, go out there and bring, because there was no Mekhi Phifer before Clockers. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that started a long acting career for him. You know what I mean? There was no Omar Epps before Juice, which started a long career for him. You know, so I think this could be the time that you do go. You don't have to have a big name person, you know, to play Roxanne Shante. You know what I mean? We don't need to try to get Sanaa Lathan to play Roxanne Shante in hopes of, or Regina Hall to play her, you know.
You know what, Gil? It takes away from the actual character they're playing, because you know, very rarely do you see someone famous to play on a biopic and it work like the way Jamie Foxx did Ray. Like he was flawless in Ray. Like I thought I was watching Ray Charles. You know what I'm saying? That's how great he was to a degree. But most times when somebody's really famous, you see them instead of the person they playing a lot. That, you know.
Yeah. Right. But Veg, what do you think? Is there anybody, or are you going with a whole, if you're casting your joints, you going with all new people?
Yeah, I think so, for the reasons y'all said. Because you know, I was thinking about a couple of actors, and there's just certain people that I would have to see them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really see it in them already, like naturally. So it's difficult to look at them and say you could play this person. But one person I did have that I didn't mention, that I know the actor who could play him because he played him before, and I thought he was excellent. Is the Bobby Brown movie, and the dude who played him, who's Kane in Power.
Right.
He was excellent. I felt like he was Bobby Brown. He had the attitude down and everything.
He killed
it. So I was thinking like, Bobby got a story, just because Bobby getting kidnapped in the 80s, drug, cocaine, all kinds of crazy shit. That dude could play him, and he could do all those different versions of him. And obviously, you know, everything that happened, you know, with Whitney and all that. So I think, you know, with him it's pretty clear because he played him before. But again, get an unknown to play him, because it's just, don't get that dude that played the RZA.
Please don't get him.
No, please.
Yo, y'all killing it. And y'all know me, don't get Calm for anything. Don't, this motherfucker, I don't even want Calm in his own
I was waiting on it.
I'm gonna cast somebody to play Calm in his own fucking documentary. So what about you? Anybody with the Juice Crew, Jermaine Dupri, Ghetto Boys, all new people, or anybody who you could see?
No, man, actually, I can't visualize anyone right now. I just think, like you said a few minutes ago, fresh new talent, man. Like you said, look what happened to Omar Epps and Mekhi Phifer. I mean, there's people out there who aren't getting a chance. You know what I'm saying? They kill some of these roles and then skyrocket into this great career, man. So I want to see new people.
Right. Kerm, what about you? New people, or you got anybody in mind?
Yo, man, it's the trifecta. I think it's new people across the board, because, like, you know, V was saying, Tone was saying too, like, you don't know these people until you actually see them. I can't think of, like, I think, you know, I want to see more out of what's Denzel's son, John David Washington, right? I
He's a
think
good actor, man.
Yeah.
He's good.
you know, he's a superb actor. I didn't even know he was Denzel's kid.
Right.
He did Black Klansman. When I was, that's Denzel's. So, but he's a talented brother, right? I think he could probably morph into. He might. Well, he's a little too soft spoken to be an X, you know. But he could probably play. You know, he could probably play Jam J in a Run DMC joint, or have a part like or something to that effect. But you're right. I think it's enough people out there, I believe, that's trying to break into the business, you know, on the Hollywood set that, you know, they could do a whole hip hop fucking 50-year reunion just, you know, for the people who have been auditioning for parts that don't normally otherwise get a part because they got the wrong
right.
space.
Right. JR, what about you? Same thing?
I agree. I think we need to get new people. Give other people a chance. And like someone said, you get a big actor, it's gonna take away from the movie because you focus on the big actor. And it's like, nah, give it to somebody new that can do it. So I'm with that.
No doubt. Now let's go into documentaries. A couple of dope documentaries that we had. Again, you know, I don't know if people have that channel. It's called Black. But there's a dope Mike Bivins documentary that's on there that's dope as hell. I think people forget. Yeah, I think people forget Mike was Puff before Puff. You know, I think we jump from Russell to Puff and we forget about Mike Bivins signing Boyz II Men, signing Subway, signing 702, MC Brains, that whole ABC, the East Coast family. Like, you know, I remember being in Atlanta, I was living down there in 97, and like they were on campus giving out Biv 10 t-shirts, you know what I mean? So that's an incredible documentary, the Biv doc. Also on that joint, All Black, is an incredible Chia Ali doc that answers a lot of questions. I always used to wonder how this little kid get down with the native tongues, and they talk about that. They, of course, talk about the murder, him going on the run. I don't think I remembered that he shot his girl's brother. Yeah. So basically his kid's uncle. So it's like, how do you bounce back from that? Like, you killed your kid's uncle. Like, how does her family, like, how does that work? Like, you killed her mom's son. Like, so very dope documentary. And then to me, Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Like, I loved that documentary. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to see people act that out. It felt real seeing Tip and Fife go through what they're going through, fight with the kidney thing and everything like that. So just some dope docs. One of the docs I want is the Boot Camp Click doc, from Black Moon to OGC. What happened with the Beat Miners? How did things kind of fall apart with Duck Down? And what happened with that? I want a Soul Aquarians documentary. You know, really tapping into that time when they were recording the Roots Things Fall Apart, comments like Water for Chocolate, D's Voodoo, Erica's Mama's Gun. Like, you know, it seemed like all this shit was going on at Electric Lady Studios, and then it kind of just disappeared. You know what I mean? I would love a doc on Rockefeller Records, you know, from the beginning, you know, trying to get on, Jay Damon and Kareem doing everything for that, signing the artists, signing Bleak, signing everybody out of Philly. And then again, the downfall of that, you know, because it felt like when, you know, parents get divorced and you got to decide who you want to live with, your mom or your pop. You know, it seemed like there's always this split down the middle when something like that happens, which turns into the Hit Squad documentary, you know, on EPMD, Redman, that whole situation, how Red went with Eric. It seemed like K-Solo and Das went with PMD, and we all know their careers really didn't pan out like that. The Gangstar Foundation documentary. I would love to talk about, you know, you always hear Preem talk about how Gangstar really started in Boston, like, to talk about that. Like, you know, I don't really know enough about what I know is Guru and Big Shug, but, you know, how did that come to be? And then Guru and Premier Lincoln, and bringing in, you know, J. Rue, and bringing in Group Home, and then what was the fallout with them that, you know, we never got that third Primo J. Rue album or a second Group Home album. Veg, for you, I wanted the Jodeci documentary. Like, and I mean, I wanted all of that stuff. I wanted to know about the swing mob with Timbaland and Mitzi and Genuine and that whole thing like that. And then I wanted the Native Tongue documentary. You know what I mean? Just really sitting down with a lot of people to talk about how it was created, and how it fell apart. I remember when we heard Stakes is High. Well, for me, when Pa said, you know, the native tongues has officially been reinstated, it was like, oh man, like hype, like thinking, okay, some shit was gonna happen, and nothing happened. I'm thinking it was almost like, you know, Veg, I was listening to this Best of Game mixtape I did, and it was like on that joint higher when Dre be like, watch out for Detox. It was like, oh shit, Detox is coming. No, it's not. It's not. You know, it's not coming at all. You know, but it sounded good. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I think what you were saying about YouTube, I thought what Little Brother did with their documentary was dope. Like, just put it on YouTube, you know, check it out and everything like that. And I was gonna say prior to a D'Angelo documentary, but you know, there is one that's out there. Vegas seen it. I finally got a copy of it, but it's called Devil's Fire. It's an incredible documentary on D'Angelo, but I have no idea what happened to it. You know, Vegas you saw it at the film festival, right?
Yeah, Tribeca Film Festival.
Right. And then just one night I was like on a D'Angelo fix, and I was like, yo, I'm finding this fucking documentary. And I actually finally found it. So if any of y'all want it, I can, you know, Dropbox it to you. It's an incredible documentary. I mean, you got D in church, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that, and you really get a bigger picture of D. Veg, what about you? What are some of the documentaries that you want?
Or that I want? One I want to mention that I saw. I think the Rick James documentary on Showtime was excellent. Because I learned a lot about him that I did not know about his personal life in the beginning. I believe he was in the military for a second.
Yeah.
All of that, and you know, like it's a lot of what you see early on before he blows up. It's like he's true to what everybody say. With Charlie Murphy, he's that guy for real. But you could tell there was also a method to his madness. Also, he just wasn't a reckless cat doing it because he loved music. He loved creating music, and he saw himself as a star. You know, and I think the documentary captured that. What I would want to see, I wouldn't mind seeing a De La Soul documentary because, again, like with Tribe, I think when De La Soul dropped when they had that GoFundMe thing or whatever, I didn't realize how many De La fans there were. Like I knew heads knew them, but I didn't know outside of that. I didn't realize, you know, so many white people were up on De La like that, you know, and loved them. So I think that would be interesting considering, you know, all they've gone through, especially the stuff with Tommy Boy Records, obviously Dave passing, RIP.
That would be dope because I don't know what really happened with Tommy Boy. Like I don't like, was everybody on Tommy Boy not streaming? Was it just De La? Then I was hearing about it's the samples, but I'm like, well, everybody has samples. So I never really understood why it was just like De La. So I think that would be a great joint because, like I said, I really don't know how that happened. I'm still pissed about that GoFundMe because y'all could have made that album y'all made for fucking $20,000, and them niggas almost got like $1 million. So I still want to order to look over that shit. I think niggas was paying some kids tuition and more, which is fine, but don't tell us you're gonna need $100,000, $1 million to make an album. That nigga, y'all could have came over my crib and we could have made a better album than that. So, you know, and y'all niggas could have just paid me in fucking food money for all I care. So, you know, you ain't need $1 million to make that nobody joint, man. 2 Chainz got the goddamn hottest verse on that album. I don't even like 2 Chainz, man. That says a lot. Yeah, he really does have the dopest verse on the De La album, which says a lot. So, yeah.
And another one that I was kind of thinking about as a documentary, he may have one already, is Al Green. I feel like, you know, he kind of gets forgotten a lot, you know, and you know, this dude was like a mainstay. Like, you know, all of us grew up around it. You know, I even got the vinyl back there, the greatest hits. He got all these hits. He got the story. Obviously, he got grits thrown on him also. But even now, when I went to see the documentary on the New Orleans Jazz Fest that happens every year, you know, I'm in there watching it, and I'm really not trying to joke because you know who was in it. Because he's from New Orleans. Aaron Neville, man.
Oh.
I knew where he was going.
I'm not talking about Aaron Neville.
Right. He was in it, but I was surprised when Al Green came out. because I felt like, you know, I just forgot about Al Green. He came out and sang and all of that. And I just feel like, damn, that's Al Green. Like he's still here. We're not really like Curtis Blow.
Yeah,
he's still here.
Right.
We're not really
recognize. Yes,
you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they should, you know, get a documentary, and I wouldn't mind a Beanie Siegel one. Because
that'd be a dope pull too. That'd be dope. There's
a lot. I think somebody like him is so known for being like hard-edged and, you know, almost man's man tough guy, where this would be an opportunity for him to be vulnerable and really talk about his life. Because you could tell that when you make a song like Die and Feel It in the Air, you got a lot of other shit that we don't know about. You know, talk about.
Agreed.
Especially considering that he doesn't have a voice really. So.
Right. Quick question, JR. Well, I'll come back to him since he done turned his camera off.
No, my bad. I had to put something up. What's up?
Oh no, I was gonna ask Al Green. So, where's his era? Is he falling into the late 70s, early 70s?
He's falling from, I'd say, 69 to like 79. I give him that because the 70s he had on lock.
Yeah, that's about right.
70s he had on lock.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out why we wouldn't have the movies. I get, you know, the movies is casting, it's money, it's paying actors. The documentaries, that's where I'm like more like, well, why wouldn't we have an Al Green documentary? So this is where the R&B Google comes in. At that time, is he at the top of his game? Like, you know how we were doing the show and we were like saying like there's competition and like, well, you know, Goody couldn't really blow because Outkast kind of already had that spotlight.
Right.
Was Al the top dog during these years? Or who was Al's competition during that run?
You gotta think, like, it's Marvin, it's Stevie, it's like all of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
all the bands too.
All the bands.
All the Fire, all these guys.
But it wasn't more solo. You know how like we look at Nas, we don't put Nas and EPMD in the same category because one is a solo with one is a group. So Al was competing against the bands too.
No, yeah, well, you can pick on everybody, but you still got Ray Charles, Marvin Gaye,
Stevie,
Michael,
and them. So it's Prince, like
flooded, man.
Right, Rick James, like he's still. But I mean,
Al's popping.
Bobby Womack was, you know, guys like that. No, Bobby Womack was. Oh
no, you know, he was shit, but I mean,
he was popping though. Don't get it twisted.
I was just trying to figure out possibly why he didn't get like a documentary. You know what I mean? It's almost like somebody young coming to us like, yo, why didn't AZ get a documentary? We can be like, oh well, man, it was Nas, it was OC. Like there was he's dope, but there were other people who were doper than AZ. So I was just trying to figure out where Al kind of fit in.
And you know what? You still had Isaac Hayes and Barry White and all of them in the same time.
That's another thing. It was so many people, but I also think with Al going over to gospel, it's like maybe some of that he don't even want to deal with anymore. So it's like to do a documentary, he got to go back into that space again.
Good thought, man.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Because he should have had one, like for sure.
You right though, because a lot of old wounds got to get opened up for that documentary with Al Green. He's got a complicated era in the sense.
If somebody throws hot grits on you, it'll change your life. That's a life-changing event, bro.
Right. And then even before then, when he first started, he was really into drugs a lot, and it just. It's a lot that he will have to reopen, and maybe he's not ready to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. So, that makes sense. Veg, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, the more I think about it, his life sounds like a film. Yeah. You know, when you think about even like the fashion, right? Like, you know, his fashion was crazy back then. And obviously he competed with people like Teddy Pendergrass.
He's a bad dude, though.
And look, if he was still alive, I think Chadwick Boseman could pull it off.
I think Chadwick can play anybody. Chadwick can fuck around, play Ronald Reagan good. Like Chadwick would do anybody. Like this dude was incredible. I'm like, this nigga done play Jackie Robinson, James Brown. Like this dude playing everybody. Right. Now again, because you're schooling me, JR. So me not knowing R&B like that in the 70s. For people watching again, my mom is a jazz musician, so I didn't have the average story of growing up hearing a whole bunch of R&B playing. I grew up in a house full of jazz musicians playing and stuff like that. So the reason I'm asking this question is try to like really understand. So Al Green, like, you know how like we look at Nas and we're like, Nas's main competition was Biggie and Jeff. Now, there was a rack of other MCs that were out at that time, but we're not really mentioning OC or Master Ace or those people as Nas's competition. It's really like Biggie and Jay was his competition. Nobody brings up Redman if we talking about who was Nas in competition with. We're not bringing up Method Man. So like with Al Green, I know it's a plethora of people from the 70s, but like if you had to say two people was his main competition, who was his main competition? Because again, you're saying a 10-year span. That's long as shit. You know what I mean? So where was Al Green? You know how like we did the show, we did 97 Hove. And it was like, if you want to pick Prodigy, what was Prodigy's dopest year? And it's like, okay, 96 Prodigy or 95 Nas or, you know, 95 Primo. Like, where would you put Al Green at his height? Where's the highest prime Al Green?
I would have to say, ooh, that's tough. But what, as far as album, or you just say?
Well, I mean, just as far as like the best Al Green, like the best version of Al Green you're gonna get, his best album. Like maybe for Stevie, you would say Songs in the Key of Life. So whatever year that was, 74 Stevie.
Okay, well, I would say I'm Still in Love with You was probably his best album, period. But you can from beginning to end. For
and what year was that?
1972.
All right, so 72. So in 72, who is his two biggest competition? Who is his Jay-Z and Big?
Marvin and probably Marvin, and I would say, well, no, Stevie wasn't there yet.
Yeah, it took him a few more years for Stevie.
It's 2 more years for him. I would just say Marvin was really his comp, to be honest, because they were putting them in the same lane now, because it was Al Green was talking to the girls. After what's going on, that's what Marvin did.
Right, because 72 was what's going on, correct?
71 was what's going on.
Yeah, 71, 72.
Yeah. So 72 is when Al comes out or whatever. But then right after then, you got 73 that comes out. Who comes out? Barry White. So he has to compete with him. And they, as far as talking to the ladies.
But also remember, JR, Marvin dropped like 5 albums back to back in this
right.
Right after what's going on, you still got Let's Get It On.
Let's Get It On. I Want You, The Trouble Man, and all that. Yeah.
So question, JR, with Barry coming, why is Al having to compete with him? Shouldn't Barry be having to compete with Al because he's newer?
It's also about the labels as well, because you know Al Green wasn't on a big label like that. He was on what was it? Oh God, what was the label called that he was on? I think it was High or something like that. You got Marvin that has the Motown behind him, and then you got a freaking Barry White that had 20th Century Fox behind him. Right, that's way much of a big more promo behind him.
It's almost like Raucous Records trying to compete with Def Jam and fucking Death Row. Okay. See, don't keep up to me. We'll make this make sense to me. I know I'm slow, y'all. We'll make it make sense to me. Carl, you gonna say something, Carl?
Now, I'm just looking at the 1972 Billboard Top 100 for that year, 1972. Al Green, #1, Let's Stay Together, right? Behind that is Billy Paul, Me and Mrs. Jones. Yeah. Everybody know that record. Staple Singers, Stevie Superstition #4, which I think was his breakout album, his very first one after the whole Fingertips thing. This is what...
it was... Superstition Book is what took him out of there. Yeah, Talking Book is what took him out of there.
Superstition was #2, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sidelights, The Spinners, Bill Withers, Hal Melvin and the Blue Notes. Yep. They had already had their run going up to this. Right. The Spinners are on here twice. Al Green, #13, I'm Still in Love with You. You know, Joe Tex. Michael Jackson was #20. Rockin' Robin, I remember that record. OJ's. Al Green has 3 hits in the top 24 in 1972.
Yeah, that was his spot.
Well, 72 was definitely his year, for sure.
You pegged it, JR. You got it. You got it. 72. This is the R&B group. Everybody, if you're not following him, Where's your ad, JR? You probably just want some followers over with that.
JR R&B rap.
All right, there you go. Follow him for that R&B stuff. Because when y'all ask me, all I'm gonna do is just pass the ball to him. Yeah, because I want to be intelligent on here. I don't want to be on Twitter and just be answering shit wrong. If I don't know, I'm gonna tag somebody who may know. So, what do you have for your documentaries?
I like to see, man, the Commodores, man. I just think it's interesting how the Commodores and Lionel Richie, man. I said No Limit with Master P and that whole thing, man, how they dropped them 30 albums in 1 month type shit. You know what I'm saying? Eric B. and Rakim documentary, man, to really get to the meat of the things, man, with Eric B. and Rakim. I like to see that. I like to see an Ice-T documentary. I had Kendrick Lamar and Top Dog, like the Top Dog documentary about, you know, with him and J-Rock and Ab Soul and everyone, because I think they got an interesting story, just like Kendrick Lamar's story on Duckworth, about how his dad and Top Dog damn got in, you know, it wouldn't even been a damn Kendrick Lamar, things would have ended up different. Right. No, would have killed his daddy. You know what I'm saying? So they got an interesting story with the way they put it together. And then Kendrick's story when he was K-Dot, man, little kid in Compton rhyming, and then the game took them guys on their first tour and all this stuff like that. So it's a lot to unpack with Kendrick Lamar. And funny enough, and I know I got Common down here, Kill.
Common ain't playing himself. God damn it, we gonna cast somebody else.
I think Common's story is interesting, from Common Sense with the first album to Resurrection. I used to love it, to the movies and all the dating, and he has an interesting story, Erykah Badu part, because his book was good. One Day,
I was gonna say his book was good. His book was good. I read his book.
Yeah, One Day It'll All Make Sense. You know, him and his mom wrote the book, and you know, his mom broke down her thoughts on when he first talking about Erykah Badu, and Mom's really wasn't feeling that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in it way more than she is type thing. But yeah, I think he'd have an interesting story based on, you know, if you look at that book, the book was very good.
Yeah, well, Tone, you're gonna have to play that nigga because he can't play himself. So as long as you don't mind traveling to Chicago for about 3 months to play calm, because he can't be in front of the camera. Carm, who you got up for your documentaries you want to see?
Man, I've been kind of like digging into these super producers lately. Like, I mean, who's producing these beats and all of that? Like, you know, but my man is a beast. Pete Rock, right? My man, you know, Suede from Camp Low. I was talking to him a few weeks ago, and he said he been in the studio with Pete for like 6-8 months, last 6-8 months, and he got so much material out there with so many different artists, right? I think, you know, he's a guy that I think that if we start unpacking his background and what he's doing, and how many fingerprints he's got, so many records on, you know, I think that was something I like to hear a little bit more about. You know, Switch Beats, obviously DJ Premier, just like a series on all, you know, the best, you know, the top 5, say, hip hop producers out there, you know, that was ever in the game. Like, that's something I would like to see.
Right.
You know, like documentary wise, you know, Beats Rhyming Life was one of the best ones. You know, I could watch that 3 or 4 more times just because every time you listen to it, you hear something different. Like, oh yeah, okay, I remember this, and etc. Or how that arrived, and you know, and I think that's something that we can all kind of look back on in terms of where those two split, Q-Tip and, you know, and my man's relationship kind of fell off over something that, you know, usually that's what happens when the money creeps in, right? But if you're doing something for the money, what are you really doing it for, right? You know, come on, let's think about that for a second. I think your relationships are always more important than your business relationship. You know, there's conflicts and egos and clashes and all that stuff, and I get it. But, you know, that's something that's going to teach people lessons in life outside of the business aspect of it. I think that's, you know, that's one of the better documentaries that's out there. I've been watching a lot of Unsung, the Diggable Planets, right? They had a cool ass story. I thought these niggas was from New York, but they're not. They're from Seattle and wherever, right? That one line they talk about,
Seattle, Philly, and Silver Spring.
Right, exactly.
And you could have told me that Cool Like That came out, that all three of them, I knew that nigga Ish was from Brooklyn. I was like, yo, ain't no way Butterfly.
He said it. He's like, you know, some hard Brooklyn kids took him out or whatever. I'm like, I thought they was from New York, right? But they not. But that's hip hop, right? Philly, Seattle, and wherever they kind of coming together. That's hip hop. It's a community. So, things along those lines that keep it real. That's really, you know, staying with the aesthetics of, you know, the subculture, if you will. You know, let's examine what these people's lives are really about, how they came together, the dynamics of the relationship that helped them produce all this good music. So, you know, front of mind, just, you know, those three, you know, really kind of come out. The rest of them you guys probably would be interested in, because, you know, my way of thinking is, you know, I want to, if I, like right now I'm listening to, like I was watching this thing on Neo Soul, right? The evolutions of Neo Soul. You talk about Common. He has a background in history with Erykah Badu, right? You know, she's Neo Soul or R&B. He's hip hop or whatever. They had that relationship. They talk about NDRE, etc. But, you know, it goes for even further back than that. You talk
Is that documentary?
Yeah, there's a documentary on that. Okay. You need to check it out. Like, I don't think they were far enough back on that one. You know, some of the new artists that are out now, I listen to their stuff and they sound, you know, NDRE sounds, her stuff reminds me a lot of the chick that was with the Brand New Heavies, right? Emil.
Davenport.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You know,
who has a very dope solo album, by the way. Her debut solo album, I personally love that joint. So,
you know, I'm a big Loose Ends fan. You know, remember Loose Ends? That whole back to, you know, Soul to Soul. To me, that was Neo Soul before they even had a term for that. You know, so I like to see, you know, those artists get their day in the sun, and let's, you know, figure out what kind of brought them together, learn a little bit more about them.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. JR, who you got for your docs? Who you want to hear from?
I want a Solar Records documentary, because then you can learn
Shalimar.
Yes, Dynasty, Lakeside.
Lakeside.
Yes, Lakeside. Who else? Shalimar. The Whispers. Yeah, it's just, and then you can learn about Leon Silvers. That's why I want a lot of people to really learn about him and the production that he did that really kind of changed R&B after the disco era and what he did. So I want people to realize that, because if it wasn't for him, then we would have no Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, because they were really mentors. He was their mentor, which also was with this record label, Babyface and L.A. Reid was from there before they created LaFace. So you're getting a lot of them in there and not understanding what this label really meant. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I would love to get a documentary with that. I would love to get a documentary with Charlie Wilson.
Yeah.
I would definitely, especially because this newer generation knows him, thanks to Tyler the Creator, thanks to all the, so they kind of know him. So it's like, okay, let's do a documentary on him so we can start from the Gap Band and then come all the way to this solo stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you can really, really learn about him.
Gap Band was dope.
Yes.
Dope,
and him as a producer, you don't know he done produced for so many people and written. So it's like you would learn so much from that as a documentary. I also would want one from Angela Winbush. I would want a documentary from her, especially what she has written for people, and, you know, definitely taking it back to when her and Renee, but then her being part of Wonder Love with Stevie, like that. It's like she has a story, and I would want people to really, really know that.
Did you see her song, JR?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I saw it.
Did she ever write anything for Isley Brothers? Because she was married to Ron, right?
Yeah, she wrote. Yes, that '87 album they came out with, like, what is it? The Smooth Sailing album. She wrote a lot of that. She wrote a lot of that.
So I Love the Dough on Life After Death, didn't she?
Yeah, because they used the sample of Renee. So she did that, and then, you know, the joint that the Isley Brothers did with her in '96 with that with 112 and Kim on it, and so Float On Your Love. They did that. So I think she deserves that. I would want to actually a documentary from En Vogue.
Okay.
For them, because I mean, they're never gonna get the respect because it's not the 4 original girls. But
so who's touring now?
It's Cindy, Terry, and Rona.
Rona ain't no original person.
No,
I know that.
Not. It's Terry,
Yeah, okay. I was about to say I know Rona. I knew their names, but I knew them if you said I know ain't no goddamn Rona.
No.
And no, you know, and no En Vogue, man.
Nah.
And after Corona, she may need to get another nickname because Rona don't even sit right with folks anymore. So you're gonna have to get a new nickname for her.
So they're definitely for them because they started this 90s girl group thing. So they kind of like the blueprint of it all, and just to see how big they were. And you know what I mean, for that. And then the last one I would want to see from my girls, SWV. I would love a doc from them. You know what I mean? Just to show what It's About Time really did. People don't know how much that album really changed music forever. But you know, for them to do a documentary with that, I think that would be.
Wasn't there something out on them, or was that another unsung episode?
Yeah, they did an unsung episode, which I didn't. That did nothing. Like that did nothing at all. That's why I was like, they shouldn't even did that. Like I think they were on TV1 for their reality show, so it was like they did it, but I don't think it was good for me at all.
So tell me this, JR, because it seems you don't like a lot of these unsung joints. What is it that they're not getting? Is it they're not asking the right questions? Is it they're not getting enough time? They need to be 2 hours and not 1 hour?
It's not enough time because you're trying to put a whole 25 year into 40 minutes because it's a commercials and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff is being skipped, and then you think some part is from maybe the first album and it's not. It's like they putting everything together, which is not. So I feel like if you're gonna do an unsung with that, you need to do like at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. You can't just do that in an hour and thinking we're gonna get everything in 41 minutes. Like, nah, it's not happening. So that's why it's a lot cut out. And then you got people online like, wait a minute, well, what's this was missing? Because with that SWV, they skipped New Beginning like that never happened. I'm like, they got mad albums, they got singles off that joint. They talked about You're the One, and then they went right on to Release Some Tension. I'm like, you can't do that, you know what I'm saying? So I would definitely want one from them. And that's why I was saying the Jodeci, I would want a documentary with them on All Black for real. You know what I'm saying? To give them one. So those are the ones that I would really like to see as far as documentaries.
Veg, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I stopped watching Unsung like years ago, so there's plenty I didn't see. Mainly because of how it made me feel, right? Like first I'm jamming through all of it, right? I'm like, oh, I remember that. It didn't matter if it was Ohio players or whoever it was. But then by the end, you like, well, damn, who's alive? You done got jerked. This nigga and I would be depressed by the end of it. Like, man,
it's always the case. Always.
Right.
It's like they always get to the part with the decline. That's
right. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what happens. You know what I mean? It's good. Somebody's gonna die and get hooked on something, or something bad's gonna happen. Out of 5 motherfuckers, you know, one
after it. Like I didn't think about that. Like after Unsung, you do be depressed. You be like, I don't even want to watch this no more. Like.
Because you know they got jerked, they got their money messed up. They didn't get their publishing.
But one thing that, you know, as a solution person, because I don't like to talk about problems all the time, all they have to do is just loop back to what you liked about them at the end. That's all. Like a person could pass on, but they had their time. They had an impact on people. And to me, that's how you should end the story. You know, just so you don't get left on this like, damn, you know, let me see if I got $5 to get this nigga. I ain't know he was hurting. Because you know what's worse? I mean, obviously, you know this working in radio. Sometimes when you meet these people, because when I met Charlie Wilson, this is when he was messing with Candyman, you know. And he came by there and he did a dope drop for my show that, you know, I use to this day because it was animated and everything. But when he walked in with his woman, at first, and you know EAA, the old building, and Ain't no security, nothing. At first, I was like, oh, oh, it's Charlie Wilson. I thought 2 crackheads just walked in. My bad. Can I get a drop? And it, you know, he looked way better now. He looked way better now, but back then when he was kind of coming back, and he was dressed like him too. He was dressed like the Pied Piper. He had the jacket and everything. I was like, is that him? But you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you meet these people like me not seeing Alexander O'Neal in a long time, and I'm seeing him on Sung, and I'm like, damn, what's going on with the brother? Like, why he look like that? You know, so just don't want to see them looking that way. That's all.
Yeah,
I think my beef with Unsung was I just feel like it's like the 5 heartbeats. If we gonna do this, let's do this right. You know what I mean? So if I'm a producer on Unsung, I mean, one of the things I hated was they would always use the same people to like come in and tell a story, and these people have nothing to do with these people. It's kind of like we're just gonna bring in Vay because he's a cultural critic. No, bring in people who know about him. You know what I mean? Like, even when I was at EAA, I'd be like, yo, I got Wu-Tang coming through tonight. I'd be on the bridge all day that day, like, yo, what questions y'all want to know about Wu-Tang? Like, and then I'm gonna go back. So if I was a producer on Unsung, guess what? Yo, we trying to do joints on these 10 people. Yo, I need everybody who knows something about, who loves SWV, send me something. You know what I mean? And that would be the person who I want to be the cultural critic for that show, not just some random lady who's always like a vibe writer or whatever. Just because you wrote for Vibe don't mean you know shit about Brand Nubians. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, you only getting to know Brand Nubians for this show. Like, you doing the research for it. So the same way the intro people reached out to JR, like, yo, we want you to come be a part of our joint. Like, you gotta keep your ear to the street. Does that take a lot of work? Yes. But if you want to do shit done the right way, that's what you need to do. You know, like, if you know anything about Vague, you know it's LL Cool J, Ice Cube, and Big. So if there's an LL doc, you got to get Vague involved somehow. You know what I mean? Like, if people know me, it's Dilla, it's Preem. Like, yo, you got to tap in with the people who really, you know, fuck with these people. You know what I mean? So again, I don't understand how, you know, you got the same old people being the cultural critic, whether it's fucking 70s soul, 90s hip hop, or 2000s R&B. You still got the same people. Shit, you don't know. This one person don't know everything. So I think that's what my thing was with Unsung. Like, you know, it's cool to hear the stories, but I just think we could do it just a little better than what we doing. You know what I mean? So, all right, dope. We done did our movies. We done did our Netflix. We did our documentaries. Tell me this, JR, what you banging this week, man? What you listening to?
Who am I listening to? I'm still on Cy Smith. Still on that.
I gotta tap into that joint.
Yeah, please. That joint is so dope. And Tracy Lee's on it too. So yeah. So who else am I banging? I'm banging this. What's his name? Keon Dixon just brought out part 2 of his the R&B You Love, and it's like a deluxe edition. He brought it out. I'm on that. I just started listening to it this week. I'm on that. I'm still on my, still on my Motown kick. I'm actually, for the past like 2 weeks, I have been listening to Trouble Man a lot from Marvin. So I've been on that. So those are the 3 that I've really been on this week.
All right, Tom, what you been banging?
Man, I've been banging Mobb Deep Hell on Earth a lot this week, man. Been banging the best of Sade. You know what I'm saying? And actually, I've been banging Paid in Full, man. So nothing new, man. Just all old joints this week, brother.
All right, Vague, what about you?
I've been listening to Earth Gang, Robophobia. It's an EP. It's really dope. I really like Earth Gang, man. They when they started out, they were like really just hip hop, but they've been able to finesse their style where they're still doing hip hop, but they feel more like soul in a lot of ways. And they blend a lot of different styles, and obviously they're not really singing like that, but they've been able to transition from a traditional hip hop style to a style that's kind of like boundless. So and I like the music a lot. I'm looking forward to checking out the Ransom and Harry Fraud, even though I'm not a big fan of Harry Fraud's music. But how could you make a whack Ransom? Ransom don't miss. So that joint is called Lavish Misery. And I'm assuming I'm going to be like, top 5 of the year by Saturday. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I got a whole bunch of other stuff I've been checking out, like I mentioned before, like Davies, and a throwback, because at least once or twice a year I listen to it because I want another one, Do-Rag Dynasty. Okay, I love that album. I listen to it all the time because I just thought it was just a dope concept. The album cover was dope. It's just boom bap. I don't even care what dudes are talking about. Alchemist is on it. Prodigy has a standout performance on there also. It's just really dope. So yeah, that's what I'm banging.
All right, that's what's up. I got it.
March 9th, of course, you already know.
Right. Right. Yo, and it's funny you said about Harry Fraud, because I don't get the hype on this boy. I don't like none of his beat. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. I'm lost. But I'm with you. I definitely want to check out Ransom. Curran, what you been listening to this week?
Man, a lot of Afro beats, to be honest, man. Masego, Sims, again, Crossroads, Lucky Day, Molly, Chronics. I'm on this. I'm loving this Afro beat shit, bro. I'll be honest with you. It's, it's. I can't really listen to. If I'm listening to hip hop, especially in the whip, it's it's gonna be the throwbacks to De La and Tribe and Biggie and whatnot. Again. But like I said, the neo soul Afro beat shit is where I'm at these days. Especially if I spend a lot of time in the car now because I go to Alabama. I was down at Tuskegee University a couple weeks ago, and every Friday they bring the DJ in for lunch and whatnot. They're banging on the tables like we used to do back in the day in high school and whatnot. And they're starting to play a lot of this stuff too because they have a real big Bahamian population down there at the school. And I heard a lot of cool shit with the beats. It's hip hop and it's R&B at the same time. But with that, with the congas and all this kind of stuff. Like, so I've been feeling that a lot lately. Kind of reminds me of New York too. Like, being back, like they know what I'm talking about. Like if you go across the Brooklyn Bridge now, they kicked them off the bridge. All those vendors and all that though, right? They're not up there anymore, right? But what?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Right. So, every now and then you used to go, ride your bike over the bridge. Somebody be out there with, with the Caribbean stuff, yelling, water, $1 with the drum. So it just kind of takes me back to that. So that's kind of what I've been feeling lately.
All right, that's what's up. It's funny you said Trouble, man. I've been banging the Chico joint, man. I love this joint, man.
I love it,
man. That's a classic.
That's a 5-money classic right here for me, right? So I forgot who said the barge, but I just started thinking about Chico's story.
I'm the barge fan, bro.
I started thinking about Chico's story
too. Real quick, shout out to Chico the Barge, man. Back in the MySpace days, I used to write poetry, and he did too. So we used to talk a whole lot back then during that time, man. Really good brother. He came to do a show down here in Raleigh, hit me up. I couldn't make it because I was going out of town. But man, real humble dude, man. Chico the Barge, man. Unfortunately, right after that time, man, just like his older siblings, man, he stayed in some trouble, man. Good dude, man, but stayed in some legal stuff, drug stuff and stuff like that, man. I haven't corresponded in years. I don't know what's going on with him, man. But man, my interaction with him, man, dude, real cool dude, man. Really talented, man. That album right there showed his talent, man. I think Elder Barge produced a couple tracks in that joint too. Yeah. But yeah, man, he had the it factor, man, but it just never matriculated because of personal stuff.
Right. And then the other thing I got, Christina Aguilera, Back to Basics.
That's my favorite
right here with, I think Preem did about 9 on side 1. To be honest with you, I don't even listen to side 2. I don't even know what that shit
really didn't need side 2.
Yeah, I just listen to this joint right here. So, for anybody who wants some classic Primo, what happened?
You said Christina Aguilera, is that what you said?
Yeah, Primo did this. Primo
reached out. What's the story?
Primo Kwame got a joint. Would you say so?
Did she reach out to him because I think she like
Grupo? Yeah, she like Grupo now. So she reached out to him and wasn't working. Yeah. So yeah, don't sleep on this joint. It's some Preem bangers on here. You know what I mean?
Oh, Back in the Day is my favorite.
Yeah, and truth be told, man, I've been living with this Benny for a while. I fuck with it. You know what I mean? You know, I fuck with it more than what I thought I was. The Benny the Butcher joint. So the Benny the Butcher.
Yeah, the new
Yeah, I
joint.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I mean, you know, it's a a lot of one verses and stuff like that. But I was happy with the Alchemist beat. Alchemist gave me some drums.
What's your boy now? I like him a lot too. I Am God.
Yeah, I Am God. Yeah, God got some shit.
He got some shit, dog. So I pumped a couple of joints recently too, man. Dude got skills, man.
Yeah, salute out the guy too. Parks on the Joe Budden show shouted out his last album on the show, so that was real dope. JR, give them all the info, bro. Where can they get at you? What you and Elise cooking up? What's going on with the R&B reps?
R&B reps, same thing. Catch that mini. We off this week because I'm going on vacay, but the episode that we have out now, we talked about a joint from Bilal, which was Levels, and that was a dope joint. And then we talked about a Tweet joint off her Charlene album. But our next episode is gonna actually probably be with Tall Black Guy and Zoe. Did like what is it, Artist Spotlight. We talked with them and we talked about them producing the side album and all that kind of stuff. So that's really a good episode coming up. Just pushing that, you know what I'm saying? Catch that mini. Follow us on R&B Reps on Instagram and Twitter. We got some new things that's coming up that's in the works, but I ain't speaking on it yet, but it's some dope stuff. So yeah, just follow me, JR R&B Reps on Instagram and JR's World of Soul on Twitter.
Nah, it's not JR World of Soul.
Switch it. Yeah, switch it. JR's World of Soul on Instagram and JR on R&B Reps on Twitter. Yes.
All right. Tone, what you got going on, man? Where can they get at you?
Yeah, man. Twitter, Enter the Dome. Everything is on all the links on the Dome podcast, man. Having fun with that. Also, me and Vague did another episode of That Time in Hip Hop. We talk about Rockers Records. You know what I'm saying? This week, appreciate that. So we got more cooking up on that. And like I said, got more joints coming up on the Dome. Got some other interviews. Been talking to a couple of people at some point soon. We're just kind of waiting. You know how I go with dealing with people and times and scheduling. And so I just been doing my own recording right now, having fun with that, man. So also make sure people Enter the Dome me. There's an imposter out there who made my page and then blocked me and been retreating all of my joints for the last I don't know how long.
What?
So I had to do the whole report thing last night, and then a lot of other people that follow me reported also. They're trying to get it taken down, man. But they took all of my stuff and they've been retweeting all of my stuff every day.
Wow.
So yeah, this shark biting to a whole nother level, man. They done
the big nice shit.
Yeah, hey, man. Crazy. Vague, where can they get at you, good brother?
You can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC, and you can check out my podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast, which is a weekly news podcast available on YouTube and via audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. News and perspectives, and every now and again some reviews. I'll be reviewing the Ransom and Harry Fraud this week. If you're watching this, it was last week, but you already know. But also, me and Tone brought back That Time in Hip Hop. We did Raucous Records. If you don't know, That Time in Hip Hop is about history and nostalgia, but more importantly, the preservation of hip hop music and culture. So you should check it out. We ain't capping for nobody. We ain't got cap for you Twitter niggas. You know how I feel with that. Y'all don't really fuck with me because y'all already know I don't do that dumb. But nevertheless, you should check it out, man, because we try to give you facts and a little humor and some insight into the things we know and our experiences being from two different places, but being hip hop heads. And it's pretty dope. And when you look at our early episodes, you can see me trying things. When you look at this episode, it's like, damn, it's polished now. Like,
yeah, you got to polish.
Oh yeah,
polish, baby.
But yeah.
All right, no doubt. And don't forget, me and Vay cooking right now. We got some shit coming. We definitely got some shit coming for y'all.
I'm gonna wear the hoodie next time.
Hey, Hoodie Vegas. Me and Porsche go back and forth with those two. Which ones we like better? You know which one I like better, but you know she loves Hoodie Vegas. Kurt, where can they get at you, good brother? What do you got cooking up? What's going up in the chef corner and all that good stuff, man?
Man, right now, you know, I just finished up a project with Mr. Hakeem Alston at a spot on U Street, historic U Street in DC, called Enigma Lounge. Really sexy upscale lounge. You know, the food is Mediterranean, kind of a upscale velvet rope speakeasy type of joint. You know, Hakeem is a deep brother. He was actually in the kickboxer movies. He was that tall 6'7" nigga with the dreadlocks and whatnot. So this is his latest concept. I'm helping him with that. We got that one put together. It's locked down. The shit is dope. Come check it out on, it says 1630 U Street. Right now, I'm still doing my restaurant consulting, you know, and anybody that you know out there that wants to ask a question or need some help, you know, getting the concept off to the ground or whatnot, check me out on LinkedIn, Kermit the Cool Frog, W. Griffin, on LinkedIn, intro.co. You can find me for that. Hit me up for any business inquiries, etc. You know, Instagram, my IG, at DC Chef Kerm. You know, Brooklyn born, but I'm a DC supplant, but now living in Baltimore. So I'm with Perkins Management as their new corporate chef, rocking all these HBCUs. We're going to reinvent the food experience at these HBCUs, dining halls and whatnot. So yeah, you know, a lot of historical colleges too. You know, Benedict, like Tuskegee University, Miles College. You know, just kind of changing their palettes and intertwining the intersection of food and culture and music and whatnot, letting them do their thing, like I said. But, you know, elevating, you know, kind of expanding horizons from a culinary perspective. It's just not just fried chicken and, you know, macaroni and cheese and collard greens and whatnot. You know, we're turning them on to some more international flavors and things like that, you know. So I'm on the road a lot, man. I'm home this week and probably next week, but, you know, I'm going to take a break going into the summer. Get ready for the fall, and I think my next project is going to be beyond that. I'm going to probably be down in Miami for about a month or so, working on a situation that's connected to Rick Ross. But that's all I can say about that right now. So,
all right, no doubt, that's real dope. You already know it is with me, Kill889 Twitter, IG. Since this will be prepared on Monday, I will have everything set. We are doing another third verse challenge. About 2-3 years ago, I did a three-verse challenge. I said there's no 3 verses in the hip-hop. I posted a beat. Cash would download the beat. You write the 3 verses. You know, when you finish, tag me, hashtag third verse challenge, everything like that. We were talking about since the last episode of Apartment 5B was about that. All this week on my timeline has been about 3 verses and everything like that. And, you know, I'm like, I said I did the challenge. Mad MC's talking about, well, I ain't see it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? We gonna bring it back. I'm gonna take what Vague said too. If you really want to step up to the challenge, I write a story in these 3 verses. You know what I mean? Number one, I'm gonna do this on Monday on video so people understand this ain't no contest, you know, so it ain't no competition. It ain't like we gonna sit down with the Apartment 5B crew and pick a winner. Nah, this is simply to show your skills. That's all this is. You know what I mean? If you fuck with the beat, it's yours. Use it on the album, whatever. Just know it may be another 100 niggas who got the same beat, but whatever. You know, the beat is free. You know, if you do the challenge, the beat is yours. The song is yours. Do your thing. And again, the goal is just 48 bars. Because I got mad niggas like, yo, Jay's fucking Can I Live is only 2 verses. I'm like, well, the first verse is 32 bars, and then the second verse is 16, so you're still getting the 48. So I don't care how you motherfuckers do this, as long as it ends in 48 bars. For you MCs who can't count bars, don't ask me shit. Google is your friend, okay? But please let the math be math in this time. 48 bars. So I don't care if it's 1 long verse, if it's 2 verses, if it's 3 verses, as long as it equals 48 bars. Again, for people out there who don't want to do the challenge, that's cool. You don't even have to reply, motherfucker. Tell, you know, because there's gonna be somebody like, why not do this shit, man? Tell that shit to whoever you fucking right now. Tell it to your kids. Tell it to somebody who gives a fuck, because I don't. So But this is only for the people who want to show their skills. And again, I think it's a good challenge. You know what I mean? It's a good challenge. I told people last week, I don't think a lot of MCs are in 3-verse lyrical shape.
Hey, Kill.
Yo.
You might be a bigger jerk than me, man.
I might be, man. And I don't even think we're being jerks. I'm just being honest, because you know somebody's going to be like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. Motherfucker, nobody asked you to do it. Like, that's the thing, man. Like, nobody asked you. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, please just keep it moving and ignore it. I don't care of why you don't want to do it. I swear my spirit does not care why you don't want to write 3 verses. Don't give a fuck. Just being honest.
Yeah.
But, and again, we used to do this with producers. Some of me and my producers, we pick a sample and all of us would try to chop the sample a different way. So again, this isn't competition. This isn't to be a winner. It's literally just to show your skills. If you are a boxer, you need to be in shape to go 12 rounds. Even if you can knock a nigga out in the first 4, you still should be in enough shape to go to 12 rounds. Like Vegas said last week, maybe you can get what you want to say across in 2 bars. That's wonderful. But you still should be in lyrical shape to go 3 bars. So this is just what this is about. Are you in lyrical shape? If you're not, don't reply. Just ignore the shit. If you are, take the challenge, write a story, and give us 48 bars. And, you know, at the end of the day, like I'm telling people, just tag me whenever you post a new joint. Tag me. I'll retweet it. We'll get it out there. And, you know, I think it'll be a good activity for MCs.
Hey, can I say something, Kill?
Please do.
If any MC, don't be adding anybody on this damn show talking about how nice you are without a damn video showing how nice you are. That's what Kill's saying. I don't want to hear how nice you can freestyle and how nice you can rap. Show a fucking video of your ass rapping.
There you go. You know what I mean? Everybody got a video camera now, so it's the easiest time in your life to shoot a video, you freestyling around the room or doing whatever you do. But again, and if people don't want to do it, that's cool. It's no offense, but it's just literally like a sparring match. Like let's see if you can really go 12 rounds. Let's see if you can really go, you know. And I'm intrigued. I think this is really dope because we're gonna hear somebody using the same beat and people using it different ways. People coming with different flows. People telling different stories. So again, I don't want. This isn't a competition because I think a lot of times now with people they hear competition and. You know, I don't want to lose, so I don't even want to party. It's like the dunk contest. I don't want to lose because it's gonna fuck. This ain't no competition. It literally is no winner or nothing. Just put your best foot forward and let's see what we come across with. But just also know a lot of people's 3rd verses back in the golden era was hard, just as hard or maybe even harder than your 1st verse.
Yep.
So again, if you're a real boxing fan, you can't be winded in the 12th round, nigga. This may be the decision round. You need to have as much energy in the 12th that you did in the 1st, then some, because this is when you got really win the match. So you can't be winded in that 3rd verse sound like trash. Listen to Nas' 3rd verse on One Love. You know what I mean? So you know it's you really setting the bar up even higher for that 3rd verse. And again, I know there are some MCs they're not used to writing 3rd verses because a lot of these young MCs have only written 2 verses. That's what their template is. So again, it's just a challenge to see. And guess what? There's nothing wrong. And again, I want to put this out there. Apartment 5B, the hip hop community I want on my timeline, this is about teaching. So if somebody's like, yo, man, I'm struggling, there ain't no shame in that for me. You know what I mean? Reach out, you know, I ain't trying to put you out there, Vague, like you gonna help niggas come up with their 3rd verse, but reach out, right? Vague already said no, fuck y'all. Okay, so no, not Vague, don't reach out to Vague. But there ain't nothing wrong with saying like, yo, OG, I need some help. Like, how do you do this? So what's the 3rd verse? Because again, I get it. Some of the new MCs don't understand having to finish it with a 3rd verse. So again, for me, there's nothing wrong with saying, yo, I don't know how to do this. Because guess what, y'all? None of us at some time or point knew how to do any of this shit. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with saying, yo, I need help, or I don't know. What's in conclusion? No harm in asking me what that is, and we can walk through this together because I just want everybody's skills to be sharper. That's really the goal of this. That's the only goal. I just want MC's skills to be that much sharper because if you're a dope MC writing 2 verses, think about how much doper of an MC you can be if you can now start writing 3 verses. You know, so again, just a challenge. But that's it. I'll have the beat up for y'all on Monday, and prayerfully, everybody talking shit right now. Everybody's like, okay, I ain't see that challenge. I would have joined. Okay, bet. Well, Monday it is. Monday it is. So for everybody out there talking that, you know, oh, I didn't know I would have done that. Well, it's coming back around, man. So, you know, I'm excited about this, man. All right, good people. I will check y'all next week, man.